and it's all about the mobile number portability, which the Nigerian Communications Commission introduced on Monday. And from what we have seen in the last 5-6 days or so, this has injected more competition into the business, and it's giving you and me, consumers, a chance to actually choose which man, which provider we deem to be giving us better service. Now, to talk about mobile portability with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Abiodun Ajiboye, who's a telecoms expert. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
And
I'm
with
happy
us
to be here.
With us also is the project team leader for mobile number portability at Globacom, Mr. Dami Olarinde.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Now, let me start with you, sir, since you are a specialist in this area, the expert. Tell us all about mobile portability.
Okay.
We know vaguely what it is,
Okay.
but...
Thanks very much. Mobile number portability, the shortened version is MMP, as we all know. It's a service which NCC just introduced to the country, which we launched last week, Monday, the 22nd of April. Basically, it's a service that enables a subscriber to switch from one network to another network, but you actually retain the same number. So basically, that's the meaning of mobile number portability.
Okay, so I can carry my
You can.
my yellow number.
You can, yes, carry your.
And I still use that number, but I'm now on another network, which means that hitherto you could say which network one was on when you heard the first 4 numbers.
Absolutely.
But now it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
That I'm carrying an 0805 number, for instance.
Yes.
Be charged on MTN or 0803 or anyone.
Okay. Now, what is the benefit of that to me as a consumer?
Well, quite frankly, first of all, my name is Otumba Abiodun Ajiboye. But never mind, I forgive you.
Sorry, I left out the title.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I can address myself if you fail to address me properly. At least I have that prerogative. But coming back to the question, what is the advantage of mobile number portability to you?
As a consumer.
Very simple. I think conceptually, mobile number portability came about as a result of quality of service. See, because what it's supposed to do for you is, if you go to an arena where there's bad service, or where there's a complication, either tariff or anything, whether the tariff is too high or whatever, you have an opportunity and the freedom to switch to another network immediately. That's exactly what they are saying. So if you go to, say for instance, a place and you find out that the kind of quality of service you receive in that place is not good enough, you have an option to say, okay, I am right now on MTN, I want to go to Airtel, or I'm on Airtel, I want to go to MTN. So you can easily swap, retaining your number, retaining your SIM card.
Yeah, but Mr. Olarinde, the process is not concluded until after 48 hours.
Well, it could be within 48 hours. Recently, again, when we launched, we've had situation whereby when you port, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but what NCC says is, the rule says, when you port, it has to be within 48 hours.
Can you give us an understanding of the process of porting itself?
Okay.
Is it something that is so technical it's almost inexplicable, or
No.
is it something that is fairly straightforward?
It's very straightforward. Basically, what you do, you walk into any of the outlets. For example, in Glo, we have about 74 Glo shops nationwide. Any of our Airtel, MTN, or Etisalat subscriber can walk into any of the outlets. You present your ID, your driver's license, your international passport. It could be a work ID, and of course you fill a form. When you fill that form, the agent who is attending to you at that point will, help you send a PORT, which is port, to a particular short code 3232. And within 48 hours, you get a response. That's when, you've actually ported to our network.
Okay, now that process internally, whether it is any of the network, that process internally, what does it take? Do you have a switch, or do you have to call another network and say, Mr. A or Mr. B wants us to move their number? What's that process?
Well, now, MMP, we actually started this whole project way back about 2-3 years ago. It involves a whole lot of technical maneuvering. You know, of course, we have steering committee meetings and technical meetings with, NCC. So NCC was quite involved in the whole process when we started this whole thing. So MTN, Glo, Etisalat, and Airtel, we all meet regularly, and we, discuss, make sure all the infrastructures are in place, and so on and so forth. So basically, there's a whole lot of technical, maneuvering going on in the back end prior to the launch of this, which makes it a lot easier for, the MMP process to come into place.
And what I'm driving at is an understanding. For example, some of us have a fairly good handle on technology. And if you have a data warehouse where you've got data of all of your clients, and that applies to virtually all of the service providers, if you've got your data warehouse and you then have plugs where you say this number, if you pull the plug here, that person will not be able to get a call through or whatever it is. If you pull the plug there, or if you remove them on the system, they're not able to be reached, or they're not able to make calls, and so on. Now, if you have all of that infrastructure in place, the process of accepting my 081 number to be able to work with an 0805 number, that process is what I'm looking at, because if that process is just as simple as somebody sitting in front of a computer and make some changes, then it becomes something that can actually be done in 5 minutes, or something that would require a number of programmers and a number of meetings and conversation and phone calls. That means it could actually take the 48 hours. That's what I'd like us to look at.
Okay. There is the MPC, which is the Number Portability Clearing House, is like the middleman that handles the porting process.
Okay.
Now, there could be maybe an interconnect issue in terms of maybe a link down. Basically, it's a systems problem. That's why sometimes the porting process could take, much longer. But again, at the back end, you have a lot of programmers, you have a lot of, engineers working behind the scenes, to make sure it's a seamless porting process. And like I said, it's something that, took us close to 3-4 years before we got to where we are today.
Okay, Otumba, when one ports, what exactly happens? Does one get a new SIM card? Does one have to register that new SIM card with the company that one is porting to? Please take us through the process.
Principally, it should have some identification. The system should be able to accommodate some identification of whoever is attempting to port. Okay. That's why they say to you, go to the customer care office, register properly. So you are not just porting without either of the networks knowing you are leaving or you are coming in. So your identity is well disclosed. Okay. Right. But the truth of the matter is that what makes it interesting here is that your same SIM card is migrated, switched, or ported to another network. So your number
gets a new SIM card.
No, not necessarily.
No, you do.
Okay, you need to get a new SIM.
I get a new SIM.
You get a new SIM.
Okay.
Of that particular network you are porting.
You are porting into.
Okay.
Okay.
But you still get to retain your same number.
Okay. In some situations, you just switch automatically. In some situations,
okay,
because this thing happens in every part of the world, and each segment, each place it happens has a different style of operation. So if you have to get a SIM card here,
I get a new SIM card. Now, suppose after some time, I'm not too happy with where I have ported to, and I want to go back to where I was.
It takes 90 days.
Yeah, I must marry you for 90 days before I go and marry somebody else.
Okay, fine. But
so can I then use that same old SIM card
you had,
which I had before?
I guess so.
So, sorry, come again. Now,
she had a ported to you from somewhere else. after 90 days, which I must mandatorily marry you for, I want to go back where I'm coming because I've seen that,
do you need to repurchase your SIM card there?
But first of all, I don't think you even need to leave,
No, but you have to leave.
Sorry.
Leave at some point.
So you give me a new card when I port, a new SIM when I port to you.
Right.
I'm not too happy with this. I want to go back where I'm coming from.
Well, just in case you do want to go back to where you're coming from, yes, wherever you're coming from will also give you another SIM.
So the one I have removed originally is now useless.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what happens to data that I had on my old SIM at the time that I am porting? Does it, all my...
No, your data can always be backed up. That shouldn't be a problem. Your data can
assuming
always
I
be
didn't back it up.
Can I just jump in?
Okay, I lose it.
Okay. No, all the information is, the network providers or the service providers are the custodian of some of this information.
Yep.
Yes.
So basically, we need to educate people on how to back up, data. Obviously, you're going to lose all your data when you do the SIM swap.
Except the data that is saved on my phone.
Absolutely. Or maybe on your laptop.
On your laptop or on your email address.
Okay. What about if I have sent an SMS or SMSs, for instance, and just before I port, and then I port, what happens to my SMSs?
Your SMS goes through.
Okay.
Now, but that will be, your SMS will go through pending when you get an alert back that your porting has actually been validated.
Okay. Okay, since it takes some time.
Absolutely, exactly.
That gives all my SMSs time to go through
yes.
and to come in.
Yes.